Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard. Busy hour coming up. Bruce Marshall on the program. Some college basketball bets from him. NBA card. MLB as well. Here we begin talking a little golf as Jeff Sealey joins the program every single Tuesday at this time on X at Cupmaker. Jeff, podcast is called the Cupmaker Podcast as well. Paul, this is something else, man. What a run, Jeff. Congratulations. Is this like one of the best heaters you've ever had?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been, what do we have? Waste Management, Berger 20-1, top 5, API, Henley 40-1 winner, Valspar, Hovland 45-1 winner, and then on the program, Minwoo Lee 45-1, Toasty 14-1, top 10, Celinda 4-1, top 20 last week. My best spot on the show ever. So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, no kidding. By the way, Toasty, I saw a bunch of tweets on this. I also bet it. It was because of you. You also said first round leader, right?
Yeah.
So it was a 5-way tie, depending on where you bet it, dead heat or maybe. But that was as high as I think 125-1 on him.
Yeah. No, he was. Yes, he was. He was on the card. But unfortunately, I got downgraded on that one. But yeah, it was a tremendous week, guys.
Yeah.
Booed it. I got downgraded. Come on. Excellent job. Keep it going. All right. What have you done for me lately? Tell us about this. What do you think about this tournament here with the Texas Open odds?
So, guys, we're at TPC San Antonio. Course has been part of this rotation for a long time. So there's a lot of data here. And top of the board, honestly, Fleetwood grades out top of every model I've done. I'm not going to bet him winning at this price. Aubert, you guys know I love him. Doesn't grade out great, though. And I'm saving my Aubert bucks for next week at the Masters. If he wins, that's fine. But I'm not betting on him pre-tournament. But, guys, it's really, really hard to not bet Corey Connors. I know he's 18-1, which is super low for a Corey Connors price. But top 20 minus 115, that is my biggest bet of the week. If you only make one golf bet this week, bet Corey Connors top 20. You can find him minus 105 some places. I bet him you can find him right around there. Case is really simple. 2-time champion, never worse than 35th, 3 straight top 10s coming in, and just statistically an amazing course fit. So, guys, if you make one bet Corey Connors, top of the board, really easy. That's where I'm going.
All right, very good. I like this because in some of the notes that you sent over, Tommy Fleetwood grades out at the top of all your models, but you also pointed out, like, you're not going to take him at that price, yeah?
No, exactly. And again, mind you, this would be his first U.S. win, right? And certainly he could, but it's just not at 14-1. Not, he was T7 last year. He's only played here once. Again, Tommy Fleetwood could certainly win. I would rather bet Corey Connors at 20, top 20, get a win there. And there's some guys much further down the board that I think we can get at much better prices. And I would not be shocked at all to see one of these guys pull it off.
You've been on and made the case for Daniel Berger several different ways at, numerous tournaments this year. You like him again this week. How are you going to approach it with Berger?
Yeah, so I bet him at the opener at DraftKings at 40. He's down to 30. I still like him at that price. Grades out just behind Fleetwood and Connors, my model, and he's a better price than both of them. Form's been great. Finished no worse than 25th in his last 6 events. And while he hasn't played here in 4 years, I think the price purely warrants a play. And guys, the very first guy that I bet, this week, period, was Bud Cauley at 50-1. I text you this, Mitch. His irons have been absolutely dialed. He's gained on approach in 4 of his last 5 events, including 8 shots on approach at the Valspar. His putting can run hot and cold, but lately, if he's on, he feels very likely to finish inside the top 20. Coming off back-to-back finishes inside the top 6, now we get Cauley in a spot where he finished T39 last year, and his form this year is dramatically better. Starting in September of last year, Cauley's been on a run where he's finished inside the top 40, which isn't amazing, but it's Bud Cauley, 8 of 11, including 3 top 10s. So again, another guy. You can find Cauley 2-1 top 20, which should be one of your first bets. You bet Corey Connors top 20 first, you bet Bud Cauley top 22nd, and start your card from there.
All right, let's get into some of the bombs. Let's go in the 50, 60 to 1 range.
Rico Hui comes in 8th in my model, coming off an 11th place finish last week. Been terrific off the tee and solid with the irons and the wedges around the green. I feel really, really confident in his tee to green game. He's been incredible. 9 straight events he's gained tee to green. But like so many guys we talk about every week, guys, his putting is just really bad to average. And if it's just average, he's going to be fine. I think if it's average, he'll be very good top 20 run, maybe even a top 10 run. Finished T14 here last year, so we know there's a confidence level. I'm very comfortable playing him top 20, top 10, and even outright, like a ladder play. My favorite's plus 220, top 20, but I'm going to have some Hui 60 to 1 as well. And then Lee Hodges, open 75 to 1 to DraftKings, down to 60. And I don't think we've seen the floor in Azaji. I think we may see him close at 50 or 45, kind of like Minwoo did last week. For a guy who's been pretty average with his long irons, guys, he scores really, really well on par 5s, 7th best in this field. He has been extremely sharp with his wedges, putted very well, which has helped with the scoring. Not a ton to not like about Hodges' overall game. Finished 11th top 11 or better in 3 of his last 6 events. Well, he's missed the cut twice at this event. He also has a top 6 here, so I like that a lot. The market loves Hodges, so do I. Again, another guy, top 20, plus 250. Take a hard look at that, as well as some outright. I don't even mind 60 right now. I still take some Hodges there. Obligatory comment, you guys know I bet him every week. I still like Jake Knapp. I'm betting him again at 60 to 1. And then Ryan Gerard grades out first in my simple first grade model. I've talked about that the last few weeks, and that was one that I had Toasty pop on, Celinda both pop on last week. And there's nothing not to like here. He's 3rd in the field on approach in the last 24 rounds. He's 20th in par 5 scoring. His long irons are among the best in the field. Has 4 top 25s the past 7 weeks. So if you're going to bet him, make your big top 20 your first bet, plus 250 you can find. Unlike a lot of guys we talked about, his putting isn't terrible. His chipping is. So he's gained off the tee, and if he chipped it all last weekend, we may be talking about him winning instead of Minwoo Lee. If he chips it all, I think he'll be in the hunt. Ryan Gerard, 75 to 1, and plus 250, top 20. Write that one down.
It's our guy, Jeff Sealey. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. Cupmaker Jeff on X and the Cupmaker Pod. 3 winners the last 4 weeks. We'll get to the Masters in a second. DePaul, Cincinnati just covered against DePaul. The total open 137.5, closed 146.5, and fell 144. Oh, that's a tough landing spot.
So the second half flew over there.
Yes, it did, yeah. And that's so you got there early, another winner in the crown. How many Masters bets have you made?
So I've made 2. I bet on Aubert. I've been betting on him. Excuse me, I lied. I made 3. I bet on Aubert. I keep betting on him a lot in a ton of parlays with the Indiana Fever. I did finally bet Bryson. And then early on, I've been talking about this on your show for probably a year. I had some Sepp Straka 100 to 1 tickets, and I continue to add more. Just did an interview today with his caddy that I will launch out next week when I do the Masters stuff. Really excited about that. Great guy, great conversation. Was Kevin Kisner's caddy for 16 years. And his first event as Sepp Straka's caddy, they go out and win the John Deere. And the next event, they take second in the Open Championship. How's that for starting a relationship, right? So great story, great conversation. That'll be out next week. But I'm really big on Sepp Straka, always am. And I mean, you get him an 80 now or so. Love that price.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Good luck. Keep it going. Great to talk to you.
All right, fellas, take care.
There you go. February 6th, Berger 20 to 1 top 5. March 6th, Henley 40 to 1. March 20th, Hovland 45 to 1. Closed as high as 80. And then last week, Minwoo Lee 45 to 1. Toasty 14 to 1 top 10. Yep. And then share a first round leader.
A true bomber. He likes Matt Schmidt this week as well. Another guy, maybe top 20, 4 to 1, 110 to 1 in that neighborhood to win it outright. So it's very good. Again, that goes all the way back to February 6th. Almost every single week, a big bomber's coming in from Indy, Jeff. Hard to do. It's hard to hit one golfer outright. And for him to do this, Wes Reynolds did it. He did it again last week, by the way, vsin.com. He's been on fire this year. He had Minwoo Lee as well. There was a stretch where Wes hit 3 weeks in a row, and 2 of them were triple digits. Like, that's not...
Yeah.
And as I've been saying this since the pandemic, This is why golf has turned into one of my favorite sports to bet. It's like I've been holding on to these tickets for March Madness for a long time, some of them that I have. The PGA Tour can be March Madness every single week. I think it's great. My wife always complains, God, golf's so boring on TV again. Well, that's because you have no idea how much money I have on the event.
Well, there's so many different things you can bet, too.
Sure, of course.
The Masters menu is awesome. Can't wait for that next week.
Yeah.
And everything they do with that. The creativity's awesome. How about that landing spot? Oh, man. Cincinnati 7 up to 10 covers. And then another 9, big move, 9-point move in the total, and it falls 44.
I looked into doing a 4-team college basketball teaser on the totals today. That first half, I said, thank God I didn't bet it. And you can tease all the way up. I think Circa allows you to bet a teaser up to 8 points in college hoops. So you can pick your number, 4 all the way up to 8. Other books allowed up to 6 or whatever at various prices or whatever. Yeah. A dime would have paid $1,100 here at Circa on an 8-point teaser on all 4. But at halftime, I'm telling myself, thank God I didn't make it, I didn't bet it. That game had no chance. And there you go again with like an 80-point second half. And so the first leg of the teaser would be good.
Yep. Tournament might be winding down. Betting action never stops. MLB's back. NBA, NHL playoffs around the corner. Golf Masters next week. NFL Draft coming up. $9.99. Get in now. VSiN Pro subscription. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits, DraftKings, and Circa. 24/7 video access and the MLB betting guide. No matter the sport, we have you covered. $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe.
We'll tell you about the player props for the Final Four that are available already coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. Coming up in 15 minutes, Bruce Marshall on the program. Like, this is what he lives for, right?
Oh, he loves the action.
Yeah. The Final Four, but like the NIT tonight, you're super excited about that?
Yeah, good games. He's watching The Crown. He likes USC. Future on USC. Bruce loves it.
Sure, there you go. That game, the Cincinnati game, almost went over. The closing number.
Yeah. Well, it's a horrible landing spot, though.
Landed 144, yeah.
Yeah, you're seeing some buyback now in the Central Florida game. They opened 1, got up to 5.5. Now there's 4.5s out there coming up against Oregon State.
That game's tipping off in 15 minutes. I wanted to bet Oregon State originally, but then you see like, hey, 3 of their best players, adios, no longer at the program.
Yep.
But that's a very common theme here going on with the Crown and some of these other tournaments that are going on as well, specifically this one. But player props are up already for the Final Four. Your initial we'll begin with the first game. Broom had 18 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists when they played Florida and lost back in February. Final score, Gators 90, Tigers 81. His prop has been posted at 19.5.
The tough one. It's a wild card. You don't know.
I can't go with the over.
I got to wait. Absolutely.
They got a ton of. First of all, they have a ton of bodies they can throw at the guy. And number two,
Exactly. You have to make someone else beat you. That was way too easy what was going on in the Michigan State game. And then why are they, call a timeout, Pearl, and tell these guards, dump the ball down to the big guy and let him eat. Right. As you're coming down and taking ill-advised quick threes. That should have been a blowout. And then you worry about his health. I mean, that didn't look good. He tells his teammates, I'm done. Comes back in, but then he can't even move his arm.
Yeah.
He hit the 3, but, he can't move his arm, and then when he tried to make that pass, he almost turned the ball over.
So the common, feedback that you're going to get on that is, well, the guy did go back into the game, and he played pretty decent. But also, I would say, you're exactly right, the right arm, he couldn't do anything with it. Right? So that's not his shooting hand or shooting arm, but when he went up and, tore down that rebound the first time, the right arm, he's, specifically telling you, I'm not going to touch the ball with my right hand right now. It hurts too much. So I don't think, there's a chance here where he's not close to 100%. And then he's got to score at least 20 points here against a team that has, all these teams have elite defenses. So 19.5, I'm not going to touch that over. Maybe he has 25. I'm not going to bet it over. Walter Clayton, who has been the absolute man for Florida, first-team All-American, he had 19 in that win, and he was 3 for 3. Check that, 4 for 8 from downtown. He's 20.5. Another one. You want to bet him to score at least 21 points? Like, they're deep. Other guys, contribute often for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you go back and look at the game log here for him in March, the last game against the Red Raiders, he had 30. He was Superman. 13 against Maryland. But he was on a stretch where it was 23, 23, 22 against Tennessee, 22 against Alabama in the SEC title game, 23 against Ole Miss, 22 in the other game against Alabama. But 20.5 is a pretty big number.
Well, you saw a sky-high total. I mean, this is a ridiculous total for a Final Four game, too.
Sure.
And what could be a track meet, right?
I'll tell you that the two guys that are complete wild cards, well, number one for Auburn is Baker Mazzara.
Yep.
I don't trust this guy as far as you can throw him.
Why don't you go hack-a-shack down the stretch?
Sure.
The one guy can't even make a free throw.
That's right.
He's 30% from the line.
Cardwell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you foul him?
Sure. Put him at the line.
And the other guy's bad from the line, too. I couldn't believe Pearl kept him in there and why Michigan State didn't do it on purpose. The guy made a free throw, and the crowd went crazy. And he's sitting there, and he's like kind of mocking himself because he's so bad from the line after he made one.
Yeah, here's why this is why, the matchup should be there for the Gators because maybe Broome is compromised, and maybe they attack it where, that said, he's still not going to beat him, so they have a game plan that's whipped up where he doesn't go crazy. The Baker Mazzaras of the world, and also Miles Kelly, his points prop is 12.5. Like, there's a chance where those two guys can shoot like Alabama did against BYU, or they can have a game like Alabama did against Duke. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're going to go combined 3 of 19 or if they're going to go 11 of 21. Mm-hmm. They're total and complete unknowns to me in this game as far as I'm concerned. And then in the other game, gut reaction to Cooper Flagg at 18.5 points.
Everyone we talk to says it's going to be a low-scoring game. So between these defenses, the number one defense in the country, giving up 56 a game in the tournament, Duke top 5 defense, cavernous shooting backgrounds, and what could be a slow tempo that I don't think can he go over. And what's the history here of guys going off against Houston?
Yeah.
The Texas Tech game was an outlier because it went to overtime, and that's the only game they've lost since December 1st. But as I said yesterday, SIUE averages 71, they scored 40. Gonzaga 86, they scored 76. Purdue 77, held them to 60. Tennessee 74, shut them down, held them to 60 in one of the worst halves of basketball you're ever going to see when they held them to 15. So what your question was good to Jay about what can Houston get offensively, but if Duke scores 68, can Houston win? I don't know. I don't think so. And Houston's team total is 65.5.
I love Jay's answer, by the way, when I asked him that. If I told you right now Duke's going to score exactly 70 points on Saturday, will Houston win? He didn't even hesitate. He goes, no, they won't win that game. He goes, no, I think it's going to be scored in the 60s. But if a team wins this game with 70-plus points, he said it's going to be Duke. And I completely agree with that. Yeah. Now, Kneppel, he's so good. 14.5 points with a prop on him. And Proctor, another guy. If these guys are going to get open looks, but Houston's so good at defending the 3, Proctor's 12.5.
How about the Houston standpoint?
Who do you want to look at?
With Cryer and...
Cryer, I see 16.5.
Yeah.
Uzan is 12.5. Here's the thing. We're talking about like they're only good defensively. They got guys that can kill you, though, too, on offense. This is why it's not atypical, and people were so high on Houston this year, and I get it. It's because their offensive numbers under Kelvin Sampson this year, by far, the best they've ever been. And they got a ton of dudes that can be really, really good scoring the ball. Arsenault off the bench.
Yes.
Was really good over the weekend.
Confidence, yes.
So if they get a fair whistle in this game, Houston can absolutely beat Duke.
Well, that's the question. So Jay has been doing a lot of this on social media and also for Schilla about this is a wrestling match. They're letting them. It's too physical, and that's what it's become. Not only this tournament, but for the season, and then that definitely benefits Houston. Right. If they're going to allow that and let them to be physical in the clutching and grabbing and holding, they're so good defensively, anyways. Sure. If you're allowed to get away with that.
I will say though, having said what I just did, I'm a little hesitant. The Cryer game in the Sweet 16 against Purdue scares me a little bit. Again, that
was their bad game. I know that was the one game they've had that there's just I don't know what happened offensively, and that shouldn't have happened. You're supposed to blow out Purdue.
But that's also bad shooting background. Football stadium didn't go well offensively, and that's where this game's going to be played as well. Same thing in San Antonio.
And Duke's just been a cheat code right now, and I guess we should have seen this coming with what they did, Now, it was bogus they got in and the conspiracy stuff, but UNC was 1-12 in quad ones. Everyone thought UNC needed that game or they were out playing for the no flag, no Brown, yet Duke's up 25 in the second half.
Yeah.
That shows you how good they are, what they were able to do.
These are, did you know this? Since Ken Palm's numbers go back to 1997, per his net rating numbers, we have 4 of the top 10 teams in the history of Ken Palm numbers. Now, it does not, unfortunately for me, it does not go back to 1996. I'd like to know what Kentucky's rating was that year.
Well, I believe it.
But
look at the records. And look what as I mentioned, what Houston's done since December. They went essentially 22-1 against the Big 12. Come on, when you factor in the Big 12 tournament.
It's wild.
It's a great league. Duke 35-3, beat Auburn already. Florida 34-4, and Auburn 32-5. But they lost 3 of their last 4 games. But in that conference, where they set a record for wins in the tournament, bids, and head-to-head matchups where they both were in the top 25.
Yeah.
And those are the records. So
I'm looking
I believe it.
I'm looking since March for Florida. Well, they haven't lost. Wins over A&M on the road at Bama, killed Ole Miss, smoked Missouri, killed Alabama again, beat Tennessee, and then you have so far what's happened in the tournament. So their run is not exactly chopped liver either. They lost twice in February. That Georgia game was bad. That first half, they were terrible. On the road against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they had that stretch where first halves were an issue, slow starts,
Right, and then on February 1st, that's when they lost at Tennessee, and they scored 44 points in that game. And that was a revenge spot for the Volunteers. Because Florida, I'm going to get that exact score, because in my head, they really beat them up. Yeah, they did. They beat Tennessee the first time by 30 points. And so the Volunteers got it. That's, revenge spot, no surprise.
Yeah. I hope it lives up to the hype.
God, so do I.
Because it didn't in 2008. It was a disappointment. Take your betting to the next level with First Bet, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream, or the road to the Derby and Preakness. First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now, firstbet.com, promo code VSIN200. Get a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today. Firstbet.com.
All right, this is right in his wheelhouse, like we talked about. The Crown, the NIT, Final Four numbers, longtime college basketball handicapper and better Bruce Marshall with his best bets next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll update some of those player props we were just talking about for the Final Four this weekend. Houston's defense has been so good this year. We'll run down like the best performances of the entire year against this stout Cougars defense. Here, we head out to the Progressive guest line. Longtime college basketball handicapper and better Bruce Marshall joins the program now. Bruce, as always, thanks for the time. We were talking about how tournaments like this, they're right in your wheelhouse. The NIT and the Crown going on, but the game tipping off like right about now, Oregon State and UCF. Can you explain how tricky of a handicap it has been because of so many guys, saying, you know what, I'm not coming back to the program, I'm going to enter the transfer portal?
Yeah, Mitch, there's one other little curveball here. You're right, all these guys in the portal, and it's sort of hard, but there have been some players who are in the portal who still end up playing. Utah had one yesterday, and we've seen a few others, though I think Oregon State's top 3 guys are out here today. And that makes this game very tricky. UCF's got several guys that have been in the portal, too. And this is the one game in the Crown today that I steered clear from. And I didn't even go over. And like we talked off air, and everybody knows, every game, all 5 have gone over thus far in the Crown, not playing a lot of defense. But this one I thought was a little tricky just because there's so many bloody guys out. And I wanted to go over, but I just thought, we got a couple other games today, so I just focus on those.
Several 6s now. Game open 1. There's several 6s on the game coming up. Colorado and Villanova. Villanova opened 3 up to 5 and a 9-point move on the total.
I still don't think that's high enough, and I can on the total, and I can understand sort of the move to Villanova. Hammond, Colorado's top scorer. Now, he's going to be out. It's a back injury for him, apparently, and not a portal thing, so he won't be there. Villanova is interesting. The top guys are going to play there. You'll see Poplar playing, and especially Dixon, and he's got a chance, I believe, to become Villanova's all-time leading scorer. And he's had a big year, scored 23 per game. Now, Villanova is between coaches here, and we know that Neptune got moved out, and Kevin Willard's coming in. Mike Nardi's been promoting just as the interim here for this tournament. Usually when interims are in there, you don't see them throwing a tight rein over their teams. They let them play. And I would expect that to happen here today, and Villanova to kind of go for it here today and play hard. Colorado was not an over team this year, though, so that concerns me a bit, and they're without their top scorer. But a lot of bump and grind in the Big 12, and we've seen this tournament. I mean, it's just nobody's playing much defense out there at the MGM Grand. So I'd probably look over again, maybe a little bit to Villanova, but this is one, even though, we're better to get that total when it was lower, I still don't think 146.5 is high enough. So I'd go over.
Well, and you've been high on this team. Last week you said USC was worth a bet to win the crown at 10-1. They opened 6 or up to 8.5, and a 10-point move in the total. USC Tulane 149.5 up to 159, and USC has been playing some overs.
Yeah, they have, Pauly, 20-6 over since back in December. So I use that pretty routinely throughout the season. One of my best trends of the season on the total side there. Best for Musselman. Well, I think they got a shot to win this tournament here. They have not been hit much by the portal from what I can tell. I mean, most of the guys are going to be there. Desmond Claude and Yates has put up some huge numbers since New Year's. I mean, he is really, I think he's only been single digits once. So they can get up and down and score. Tulane is not bad. They are missing their top 2 wing defenders, though. And that could be a problem against this SC attack that really likes to go downhill. But I like Ron Hunter as a coach, and they do have 7 of their top 9 guys apparently are going to be available, so it's not like a skeleton crew here, but they are missing a couple defensive guys. That suggests to me, even with this move up, and that 149 didn't last long. That went up pretty quick in the mid-150s, and then it's kind of crept up more since then. I still think that I'd look over. I'm not as strong on SC on the side in this one. There's some cushion there. They could win it and not quite cover. I think I'd stick over and just see what happens. Tulane's kind of scrappy, so I'll stick just with the over here. But I do think SC can win this tournament, yes.
Very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, longtime college basketball bettor and handicapper Bruce Marshall. He's on the Progressive guest line. I had to be honest, I have not been following the NIT. Just too much other stuff going on with baseball back, obviously the Final Four, everything like that. Have you noticed the same problem with that tournament where players are saying, I'm not going to play in this thing, I'm going to go somewhere else?
Yeah, it's been sort of, they're not quite as pronounced in this tournament. Most of the guys seem to be playing. And by the way, this is like the mid-major tournament now. I mean, the NIT is with the Crown taking all these major conference teams. And you got 4 mid-majors in there. There's another curveball here. North Texas, Ross Hodge has already taken the job at West Virginia, but they're letting him coach here. And they've already hired the guy, or they've got lined up Cleveland State's Daniel Robinson to come in there to take his place. So this is kind of odd. But North Texas is Hodge. He was promoted after Grant McCaslin moved to Texas Tech. After, by the way, they won this tournament 2 years ago down the street at the Orleans when they beat UAB in the final. And that's when McCaslin moved to Texas Tech, and Hodge promoted to replace him. They're playing just the way they did a couple of years ago. This is a very, very uncompromising defensive team, slower pace, third scoring defense in the country, 59.9 per game. So in this one, unlike the Crown, I might think unders. Irvine plays some defense too. Field goal percentage, 39.5 allowed. That is good. That's 10th in the country. They've got some sides. They're a little bit more physical than most Big West teams, with Luchin, the big German, down low. Tillis is a really rugged power forward there. Not so big, but I mean, he's tough. So and we've seen North Texas play some tight, lower scoring games here. Maybe under. I think Irvine might be able to win this game, though. North Texas is just squeezing by. And the Hodge thing, we'll see how it works. They're playing this game at Butler. Under first call there, maybe a little bit to Irvine. They're a slight dog, and I think maybe they're worth a look.
Okay. And anything on Loyola and Chattanooga?
Yeah, well, Chattanooga, I don't think the NIT guys expected them to be here.
No.
Because they've been out in they've had a tough road here, and Loyola had to go out to the Bay Area too. But Chattanooga's been an underdog in every game, and they've won them all. They showed a lot of moxie coming back at Bradley. That was a game I thought they'd lose. They were down double digits at halftime. Came back. They got two guys who used to be at VMI of all places: Huff, the little point guard, and Trey Bonham, a real bomber. Bash Whelan, one of my favorite names, 6'6", big guard, real physical from Bellarmine. They got some balance there, and all these guys can score some points. And I know Loyola looked good against Kent State the other night, but something's going on here with Chattanooga, and I think they've beaten teams just as good or better than Loyola to get here. I'm leaning a little bit to the Mocs, maybe a little bit to the over, but I'm going to ride these guys. I think there's something's going on, and I love that backcourt. They can really a lot of dimensions there. And this is the best team I think that Loyola's faced in the NIT.
Well, you've seen good. Yep, you've seen it all. You've been through all these tournaments, and only the second time this has happened in 40 years with the 1 seeds. Any thoughts on the Final Four, and who do you think wins it all?
Yeah, I mean, I hate Duke, but I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time making a case for Houston here. I don't think, and simply because Tennessee froze against Houston the other day, and their defense could do that to you. Duke can play over the top of that pressure. That's the benefit of having wings like Flagg and Knuppel and Mallory, big guys there, and they can sort of play over it. They don't have to play through it. And I think Proctor and Sean Brown are physical enough and seasoned enough. They're not going to get unnerved by playing against Houston. I think Houston's got to play a perfect game, and maybe they can. But I just the way Duke dissected Bama's defense, and Bama and Houston don't play the same sort of defense. But I mean, this offense is really well oiled, and it's not just Flagg. I mean, Knuppel and Proctor both they're the two leading scorers against Bama. Probably Duke there. I think Florida gets Auburn too. I mean, they got them once when Auburn was going really good. I think they've got length, and I think they've got depth, and I think that's a bad matchup for Auburn. And I'm not sure Johnny Broom's 100%. I mean, he's only playing one wing the last 5 minutes. Got to worry about that too.
So they get them. Does that mean that they're going to cover as well, in your opinion?
Yeah. I think Florida wins and covers. I think we're headed to Florida Duke Monday night, and we'll see what happens. Listen. Auburn was flying when Florida went in there in early February. They had won 14 in a row, and Florida pretty decisively won that game. And I like the way they've been battle tested here in the dance to come back. They were dead against Texas Tech, looking into the abyss, and then Clayton turned into Steph Curry. They got some dimensions here. They have fought their way through it, and I like a team that's been able to do that. So, and I know Auburn had to fight back against Michigan too. I just think Florida's a better team, so I'm going to give Florida a look.
Quickly here, Bruce. So if that's the national title game and the books open up Duke minus 4.5 against the Gators, what do you do?
Florida. I think Florida's going to win the whole thing. I think because they have some size here, and I think they match up a little better with Duke. Even though Houston's got this defense, but Florida's got some size there across the front, and I think the physical matchups there are not going to be that bad for Florida. They're going to need the guards to come up big, but we've seen Clayton he may end up being the player of this tournament. I know everybody thinks it's Cooper Flagg. I think it might end up being Clayton if they can win this thing. He is a big timer. So I'm riding Florida all the way. We'll see what happens.
You're the best, Brucey. Thanks for the time as always.
Have fun, boys. Thanks.
Thanks, sir. There you go. Vegas Insider, CBSSportsLine.com as well. Bruce Marshall on the Progressive Guest Line. What happened in their last game was pathetic and unacceptable. I'll tell you about that and an update on some of these player props for Duke facing Houston.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
So we were kicking around player props in the Final Four, asking the question if they're a little bit too high. Like Cooper Flagg, so good, but his prop is 18.5. Our producer looked at all the Houston box scores for this year to see how many guys went over that number. Ike did for Gonzaga, second round.
He was great.
He had 27. Hunter Dickinson in early March had 17. Okay, so you have to go all the way back to when Houston lost to Auburn early in the season. Pettiford had 21. Broom had 20. It was one of the first games of the year. Also in November, this was out here in Las Vegas. Houston played Alabama. Sears had 24 in that game. That's the list. 4 guys have been over 20 points. That's it.
Overtime as well, I believe?
I think, yeah,
Did you mention that? Okay.
That's right.
Yep.
So now Flagg's got to get like 19 in that game.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he could have a great game and have like 14, 8, and 6. You know, because he's a great rebounder. He's got awesome vision.
I can't get past what they did to BYU both times. And BYU was hot coming into the title game or the semifinal, whatever it was. And you look up, it's 15-0 Houston. And BYU was so potent as well.
Can I say this? Based on Bama's performance, I'm pretty convinced Wisconsin or BYU would have given Duke a better game. And I said that. I thought early on watching Bama against Duke, I hated the game plan again. Because they were not like this amazing three-point shooting team this year. They were great at getting to the rack. And what they did, I thought against BYU completely just is like, hey, we can go out there and do it again. No, you can't.
Yep. You're
not going to shoot that well.
Yeah.
And they just kept going bombs away.
And Sears was bad. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. I have a bunch of plays in the NBA tonight.
Grimes over?
I'm on it.
Got to be. Everyone's sitting for Philly. Come on. Someone's got to score. Knicks don't play solid defense or lousy defense. Cat's questionable. He's only 20.5. Come on.
Sure. Well, here's what I did. I have a couple of bets in that game. So on the player prop analyzer at VSiN.com, when you click on tools at the very top, Quentin Grimes, 12-3 over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and 9-1 over 20.5 points in his last 10. I played his PRA over 28.5. And people love parlays. I played a same-game parlay. You're right, because who else is – like, give me the players who are going to play tonight and score for Philadelphia, right?
Oubre's out. We know the other guys are out.
So, to me, it's going to be –
Yasabule's out.
Is he out? Is that official?
I thought he was questionable. Could be. Yep, he was supposed to play, but now he was downgraded.
Okay, because his prop went from 9.5 to 10.5. He's 6-1 over 9.5 his last 7 games. I played a same-game parlay here with Grimes going over 20.5. These are small bets because I don't know, like, in the final 2 weeks of the season, teams could change their mind. So I have a bunch of bets tonight. Hopefully they come in, obviously, but it's nothing super serious. But I played Grimes over 20.5, Edwards over 14.5, and then Yabusele over 10.5. It pays like higher than 5-1, same game parlay. Mm-hmm. Because somebody has to score points against this Knicks defense.
Yeah. Also, I wonder if he'll play, though, because Sixers might be worried about getting fined, too.
Yeah.
That game last week, they sat everybody in a 6-point move with the Raptors, who hammered them.
Now, what do you want to do with Golden State tonight?
Welcome to the NBA.
Well,
they fire Jenkins, and you come and you go Lakers, Celtics, and now Warriors.
On a back-to-back, Celtics and Golden State.
Uh-huh. Well, it went from 2 up to 5, and now it's come back down. But it's what a weird story. You lost the locker room. They thought they were going to go out in the first round anyways. We were just going to fire him in the summer. We got rid of all his assistants last year, so we cut him off at the. You knew the writing was on the wall. So
right.
I don't know. It's a weird story. It's so crazy. With less than 10 games left, they fire the coach. But can't depend on Ja. That's number one. What's Ja going to give me? And then can they get stops? And what's the offense look? Because so much of the criticism was, at crunch time, Ja would be standing in the corner. Well, so now what happens?
Right.
And you certainly couldn't get stops against the Lakers and the Celtics did whatever they wanted and crushed you. So it doesn't also help the back-to-back as well, and Golden State's coming in with the rest.
I'm seeing the Warriors now down to 3.5 again. That's the low water mark right now on the screen. They touched 6, actually, earlier today.
Okay.
Now 3.5. Is this the game? And the NBA announced the suspensions after that, I'm not going to call it a brawl, but the fight, right, I guess, between the Timberwolves and the Pistons from the other night. Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, they're suspended for 1 game. So is this the game the Wolves, they're only a 3-point dog tonight in Denver, 3.5 out there as well. It moved up from 2.5. Is this the game they win? Because on any given night of the week, this team will somehow lose their minds and blow a 14-point lead against Charlotte and lose.
Right.
But they get up for teams like this.
Right. So Denver knows that, too. They embarrassed them twice this year.
That's right.
That's the other thing. I was looking at Edwards as a result of the suspensions. I was looking at Edwards over 27.5 and Edwards 3 as well. He also gets up for it. It's been great.
Yes, he does.
And maybe it's a big game for Murray, too. This is huge, I think. I think to get the 3 seed in the West is enormous. Because then you're still going to have a tough opponent in the first round, but you would get Houston in the second round.
I agree.
And you're going to be a good-sized favorite there. And then obviously you win that, you're in a conference final. So that's what Denver and the Lakers fighting for this 3-4. And Denver's been sitting people and losing games, too, only one up on the Lakers.
Sure. So you take Naz Reid out of the equation here. And Dante DiVincenzo. I'm going to ride the hot streak for Jamal Murray, like you said. 8 straight games over 3.5 rebounds. It was $1.05 earlier today. Played that. I have several other bets here, too, that we can get into for the G-Bank Bet of the Night.
All right. Best Bets brought to you by G-Bank, official bank of Visa. Up in the ante with a $750 bonus. New G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. New customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from account opening get a $250 bonus. And if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of account opening, another $500 bonus. Potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now, VSiN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval, VSiN.com/GBank.
Let me give you this. The Suns are playing at the Bucks tonight.
6-point movement on the total. 220 up to 226.
And the Bucks are, about a 6-point favorite at some books, 5.5 at a bunch of others. So Sunday night, the last game for Milwaukee. This was at home. Get this.
Ugly.
Oh, my God, Paul. They lost 145 to 124 to Atlanta. Atlanta shot 53.2% for the game. They hit 17 threes. They had 15 offensive rebounds to 6 for the Bucks. And Atlanta crushed them on the boards, 46-36 overall. The Hawks also had 36 assists in the game. Rishi Shea had 36, Daniels 22, Young had 19 and 19 assists. Here's the problem. Milwaukee shot 85% in the first quarter and 69% for the first half. Your halftime score, Atlanta 82, Milwaukee 75. Yeah. This is from a longtime VSiN viewer, Ian McDonald, who was at the game. 9 years of really watching this team. The worst effort in teams of guys playing hard.
Ooh.
2 minutes left in the second quarter. Milwaukee was shooting 76%. They were 28 of 37 and 20 of 24 from two-point range, and they were losing the game. And you saw at one point they had a sloppy turnover. This was, I think, making the rounds on at least Twitter. Giannis got so mad. He stood up like this with a towel, and he slammed it on the ground. He was so mad at the careless basketball that was being played.
Yeah, probably going to get the 6th seed now.
Yeah, that's the way it's trending.
Yeah, and without Lillard, good luck, right? Maybe you want to see them in the playoffs now. Can't guard anybody, and then with Lillard going to be out.
I honestly, I hate saying this because I love Giannis. I don't think he has many years left in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They're going to end up wasting his prime.
Even with Durant out, can you lay 5.5?
No, I can't.
I mean, the Suns know the season's almost over. I mean, the guy's out for a week. There's only 10 days left in the season. Mm-hmm. You just got the gift last night with Dallas losing, but
there's no way I'm getting involved with Milwaukee. I can't stand this team. I think they're absolutely terrible.
Yep. Bulls props?
Yep. Last night was not the night to play them because OKC is so good.
Yep.
Tonight you come right back against the Raptors. Bulls are currently the 10 seed. Giddey over 35.5 PRA, 12-3 last 15. Kobe White 12-3 over 33.5. Played them both. And then don't look now, but this Kamara kid for the Blazers, 8 straight games over 1.5 made threes. It's juice, but I laid $1.49 earlier today.
Yep. Joe Osborne also had a good breakdown on Jakob Poeltl over tonight. He could eat for Toronto with guys out, and he could have a big game.
Yeah, he's been pretty good too lately with the
scoring.
Prop.
Yes. Why is Orlando only 4 against San Antonio? Because of a back-to-back? That's a bizarre line.
I'd say
that doesn't.
I wanted to ask you the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't know what to do. I can't figure out the Hawks. They're laying 5 at home against Portland. They should win, but it's hard to get a handle on Atlanta. I've been wrong on Atlanta the whole season.
Well, I think they've been a tough team to figure it out for like 3 years running now.
Yeah.
Going back, never know when they're going to figure it out here. So there's a bunch of player props anyway for tonight. Big card here. We only have 2 weeks left of the regular season.
No, less than that.
Yeah.
We're done next Sunday.
The 13th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good job, Silver. They can't win, right? NFL's taking over Christmas. You got to fix this. You got to fix. And your final day of the regular season goes against the final round of the Masters. Good luck.
Major League Baseball up next. We'll tell you about the line moves, and maybe last night was a sign of things to come. It's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.